Dear friends, in this video, we are going to discuss about the advantages of learning S4HANA Central Finance Module. So, what are the advantages of learning S4HANA Central Finance Module and how this S4HANA Central Finance Module will help the consultants to grow in their career. So, we are going to discuss about all these advantages of learning this S4HANA Simple S4HANA Central Finance Module. There are many different advantages of learning this Central Finance Module. Let us discuss each and everything in detail. Now, I want to explain you in detail about the overall advantages of learning this Central Finance Module and how this Central Finance Module will be implemented for the clients. So all those details I want to explain you in detail one by one. The point number one is once after completing this S4HANA Central Finance Module, the consultants will be getting very good knowledge and experience in understanding the business processes and used cases of SAP S4HANA Central Finance applications. Similarly, all the S4HANA Central Finance consultants will get more implementation knowledge and understanding of the central finance architecture and other important areas to be implemented in central finance applications. And one more big advantage for the consultants are the consultants will acquire very strong knowledge in analyzing the main requirements that has to be implemented in the S4HANA Central Finance System. One more advantages for the Central Finance consultants is that they will be getting very strong implementation knowledge and understanding on how to implement end-to-end configuration setup as well as what are all the different configurations to be implemented in the central finance system. Similarly, once after successfully completing this S4HANA Central Finance Module, all the consultants are able to plan, able to implement, able to execute, and able to support the end-to-end projects in the S4HANA Central Finance System. That means the overall advantages of learning this Central Finance Module is that the consultants should have very strong understanding of the end-to-end business processes in the Central Finance Module, and they can be able to implement different methodologies in Central Finance Module. They can be able to design based on the client's requirements, and similarly this S4HANA Central Finance consultants can be able to execute the end-to-end projects in the S4HANA Central Finance System based on the different requirements of the clients. The first and primary criteria for learning this S4HANA Central Finance applications is that we have already discussed many times in our previous videos that the consultant should be very strong in the end-to-end FI implementation scenarios in our traditional system. The consultant should be very strong in the end-to-end implementation scenarios in our traditional SAP ECC CO system. Similarly, the consultants will be very strong in the implementation scenarios of S4HANA Simple Finance module. Similarly, the consultant should be very strong in implementing different business scenarios of S4HANA Management Accounting module. If the consultants are very strong in the above discussed modules, then they can be able to learn easily this Central Finance module. And once after learning this Central Finance module of SAP S4HANA, they can be able to plan, they can be able to implement, they can be able to execute, they can be able to support the end-to-end business processes in the SAP S4HANA Central Finance System. And the overall advantages of this S4HANA Central Finance module is that they can be able to understand the complete architecture of S4HANA Central Finance, because we have already discussed about different architectures, implementing different architectures for different S4HANA modules. Say for example, if we take this Simple Finance module, the architecture will be different. And similarly, if we take this Central Finance module of SAP S4HANA, the architecture will be entirely different. Therefore, the prerequisites for all the S4HANA Central Finance consultants will be they should have very strong knowledge in the implementation areas of SAP FI. They should have very strong capabilities in implementing different project scenarios in CO module. Similarly, they should have very strong understanding of the end-to-end business processes of SAP S4HANA Simple Finance and how it will be implemented in the real-time scenarios. And similarly, all the consultants should have very strong knowledge in the S4HANA Central Finance applications also as well. Then only they are able to understand the entire end-to-end business processes in S4HANA, which makes them to implement, plan, design, execute and support the end-to-end business process in the S4HANA Central Finance System. That means the primary prerequisites is number one, the consultant should be very strong in the SAP FI module, or the consultant should be very strong in the SAP controlling module, or the consultant should be very strong in either simple finance implementation scenarios. Then only they can be able to undergo this SAP S4HANA Central Finance module. Once after getting the complete end-to-end business understanding of different implementation scenarios in SAP FI and in SAP CO module, then only they can be able to understand the entire business scenarios in SAP Simple Finance S4HANA Simple Finance module. Once they are very strong in the S4HANA Simple Finance module, then they can be able to handle this S4HANA Central Finance very easily and effectively. At last, the consultants should get more implementation knowledge in all the applications which is related to finance module. which is related to controlling module, and similarly related to S4HANA Simple Finance module, and also they should have very strong understanding of the end-to-end business implementation scenarios which are coming under the central finance module. Once if the consultants got very strong end-to-end implementation scenarios and end-to-end business process understanding, then only implementation of SAP S4HANA Central Finance will be easy for them. And one more advantage is that once if they got the complete understanding of SAP FI implementation scenarios, once if they have extensively worked in the SAP CO implementation scenarios, once if the consultants are exclusively worked in the implementation of simple finance scenarios, then only they can be implement these S4HANA Central Finance applications. Then only they can be able to design, plan, implement and execute the end-to-end projects in the SAP S4HANA Central Finance. That means the primary criteria for learning this S4HANA Central Finance starts with SAP FI implementation scenarios, followed by SAP CO implementation scenarios, followed by S4HANA Simple Finance implementation scenarios, followed by S4HANA Management Accounting implementation scenarios, followed by SAP S4HANA Central Finance implementation scenarios. So, therefore, the consultants should be very strong in at least two areas, either FI or with Simple Finance, or they can go for SAP CO or with SAP S4HANA Management Accounting. Either one of this, the consultant should be expected to be very strong. Then only they can be easily able to understand the entire end-to-end business processes in S4HANA Central Finance module. Then only they can be able to plan, design, implement and execute the end-to-end business processes in S4HANA Central Finance system. In this video, we have discussed very briefly about the different advantages of learning this central finance system. First and foremost point you have to keep in your mind is that the consultant should be either strong in this combination. Say for example, a consultant should be very strong either in SAP FI or with SAP Simple Finance. And one more combination is that either the consultant should be very strong in CO module, that is SAP CO module, or the consultants should be very strong in this S4HANA Management Accounting module. Then only they can be able to implement this S4HANA Central Finance successfully for the clients. One more advantages for this SAP S4HANA Central Finance module is that the consultants can be able to create reporting structure for their organization. That is the main advantage of learning this Central Finance module. I think you will be very clear about the advantages of learning this S4HANA Central Finance module and their implementation scenarios. Now, these are all the basic advantages of learning this Central Finance module of SAP S4HANA. So, any consultant can learn this S4HANA Central Finance module provided that they should have either at least with one combination, either SAP FI or with Simple Finance, or the second combination will be SAP Controlling with SAP S4HANA Management Accounting, Whenever if the consultants are very strong in either one of the above said combinations, then only they can be able to understand the entire business process, then only they can be able to plan, implement, execute and support the end-to-end projects in the SAP S/4HANA Central Finance. Now, I want to tell about myself. I am Raja. I am having more than 20 plus years of experience in the SAP industry as a consultant, as a practice head, as a delivery head for many implementation, production support, rollout and upgrade projects. I have got more than 5 years of on-site experience handling Middle East and European clients. Regarding my certification areas, I have done my certification in finance. I have done my certification in business process planning and consolidation module. I have done my certification in S4HANA Simple Finance, and I have done my certifications in S4HANA Simple Logistics. I have also completed my certification in SAP S4HANA Central Finance, and I have recently completed my certification in SAP Business and Revenue Innovation Management module, that is SAP Hybris module. And in this video, we have discussed very clearly about the overall advantages of SAP S4HANA Central Finance and what are all the eligibility criteria for learning this S4HANA Central Finance module and what are all the mandatory skills needed for the consultants to understand the entire end-to-end business processes in S4HANA Central Finance and all the stuff. So these are all the advantages of learning, implementing, executing, supporting and designing the entire S4HANA Central Finance system. Thank you.